Oh my gosh, today I'm so excited to welcome Virginia Hart, the founder and executive chair of Art Risk Financial and Insurance Solutions. I know, you're like, how can insurance be exciting? But in this business, in this area of law, to protect egg donors, intended parents, surrogates, anybody who does assisted reproduction in any way, shape, or form, insurance, like most things, is very critical. There's baby insurance and life insurance or accidental death insurance, and there's so many things you can do now. There's insurance for lost wages and housekeeping and childcare. Seriously, I was amazed. In the 20 years I've been in this business, I know I started when I was 5, but she really is an insurance expert. She is my go-to for all things insurance. So welcome, Virginia, and she is going to talk to us about the things that we need to look out for and the things that we need to be aware of, because, as we all know, insurance can be tricky. Thanks for listening, as always, or watching. I really want to kind of break it down to people doing IVF. Do they need insurance? What type of insurance? And then let's talk about egg donors, surrogates. Of course, our favorite word in the whole wide world, liens. Well, there's liens, and then there's also self-funded, and for people outside the United States, yes, our insurance is complicated, which is why I look to Virginia to help answer questions about insurance, because even though way back when in a previous life I worked for an insurance company, I have no clue about it now. So if I was just doing straight IVF, Virginia, would I need insurance? Like, I'm just going to go into IVF and I'm going to go and I'm going for IVF and do I need some insurance? Would I need anything?
There's a risk of complications, whether or not you're doing your own retrieval or somebody else's, you're doing an egg donor. So when your own retrieval, it's very difficult to get insurance for IVF. California did recently mandate it, although it's only large group. It can't be self-funded. It's only large group. It's not small group, and it's not individual, which leaves out about 66% of the people in California. But
wait,
if you're one of the
66? Yeah, that's a large.
Yeah. But if you're one of the fortunate people, ask your employer. It was effective January 1. Many employers, many insurance companies are totally unaware. Ask again. A lot of employers also offer programs where they'll give you a set amount of money towards your IVF, and that might be managed by a company like Prodigy, Win, Carrot. They're really just third-party money managers. They help you get the biggest bang for your buck.
Okay. All right. So there are options out there. So look and dig. If you're an employer, contact your employer, right? Yeah. See, because I know like California, but there's also New Jersey, Illinois.
New York has some. Yeah. Illinois has some. Correct. So definitely, Illinois is one of the best laws. So definitely contact employer, ask what you can get, ask, well, if not now, what happens at the first of the year when we renew, etc. Other than that, there are discounting options available. There is a program that we're just really beginning to market, and it actually will give you a discount if you use an in-network provider on doctors, labs, medications, etc. So if you have no insurance whatsoever, this program can be extremely helpful to you. The discounts, of course, are not guaranteed. The program is very inexpensive. It's $600 to join, and then from there, you get the discount. You would put money on trial and go from there.
Wow. Because when I was doing an IVF in the dark ages, because, my kids are 24, there was nothing unless I lived in New Jersey or, Illinois, or I think there was another state. That was it,
Right.
Oh, okay. So they've got...
Yeah, the discount plan isn't insurance, so you need to know that.
Yeah.
But it will give you discount. And again, saving some money is better than saving no money in this field because it's very expensive.
Very expensive. Very expensive. Okay, so egg donors, because some people I think aren't aware that an egg donor, if you're doing an egg donor cycle, she needs insurance. She is typically young and healthy and free of complications. I know I did seemed like a million egg retrievals, and I had no complications, but sometimes things happen. So what do you need if you're going to be doing an egg donation?
If you're going to be an egg donor, we recommend getting donor insurance. And the donor insurance is extremely inexpensive. It's like $300 a cycle. Might be $350. I can't ever remember the pricing, but it's right around there.
I can't remember prices any. People ask me how much I charge. I'm like,
exactly. Ask my bookkeeper. I don't know. So it covers from the start date of medication up through the transfer and 4 months after the transfer, or you could get a policy that was valid for 6 months. For any complication that occurred due to the medication, the procedure, or post-procedure. The most common complication is ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, which is extremely painful.
Yeah.
Usually requires some doctor intervention, and you'll be miserable. A lot of the claims that we see really aren't claims. It's just, I hurt like hell because it's a painful procedure. It's invasive. You've taken hormones to make your ovaries very excited to give you lots of eggs, but that takes a toll on your body. And a lot of times the clinics don't explain that. You can get a complication due to the medication that has happened. You can get complications at the induction site. You can get infected. There can be issues. So it's always extremely important. The insurance has no deductible, which is amazing. So it's first dollar coverage. Yeah. So that means if your donor goes to the emergency room, except don't send her to Kaiser because the Kaiser won't cover Kaiser. But if she goes to the emergency room, it will cover.
And when does our insurance? It never has no deductible. There's always a deductible. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
I know when I represent donors, surrogates, I mean, my job is to keep them safe. And having gone through the egg retrieval, especially if it's a first-time donor, I will tell them, listen, you're going to feel like your ovaries feel like watermelons. Right? The day of, I remember my first egg retrieval, after I woke up, I was like, the first question I asked, of course, is, how many eggs did I get? And I was doing it for myself. Like I was an egg donor. How many eggs did I get? And then I just remember the bad feeling was gone, like that whole pressure. But I know from talking to my egg donor clients, if they get OHSS, they get that, then their whole pelvic area starts to build. They look like one donor showed me, she was 6 months pregnant.
And
painful.
Sometimes they have to go in and actually extract all that extra fluid.
I know.
Sometimes it'll dissipate on its own. A lot of electrolytes, you can kind of alleviate it if you electrolyte load and you protein load, but who knows? Honestly, everybody is a bit different. So, this is not medical advice. Yeah.
I know. And I do try to tell them, listen, I know obviously everything happens on a Saturday and a Sunday, right? Because I tell them, sometimes the ER doctor is not going to know what to do because this is not something they see every day. Broken finger, broken arm, whatever, but they don't see this kind of thing. I've had donor clients call me or text me and go, we had to get the doctor, the IVF physician on the phone because. So I always tell them, get the back line phone number of somebody. Now with texting and everything, it's probably easier. But I was always telling them, you get somebody's phone number because middle of the night, Saturday, Sunday, because I go, oftentimes the ER just is like, what is this? How do I treat this?
Right. Run all this tests because they don't know and they want to make sure that there's nothing else going on, which is good medicine on their part.
Correct.
You would never tell someone not to do it because you just don't know. Maybe you do have torsion. Maybe you do have something more severe. So definitely need to go get it checked out. But it can be frustrating when you're a donor. You're like, but I know I'm okay. It's just I was a donor and this just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I had nothing, no issues. But you're right. The injection site could get infected. They always tell you the alcohol, but right. And then there's
anything. Who would have thought that years ago, nobody ever had a reaction to the medication that was an allergic reaction. And now we're seeing that more and more.
I know, talk about that, because
Yeah.
I was like, it's the hormones that you naturally produce in your body. They're just giving you more of them. But I hear that more and more with donors and surrogates, that the medication is, they're getting a reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
I wonder
It's
if
crazy.
it's
There's
what they mix it with, maybe?
I don't know.
I'm not, I'm not a pharmacy person, but yeah.
I'm not either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The good news is I know that, in my 20 years, I've known 2 donors that have had to be hospitalized. So that's a fairly good,
It doesn't happen daily, which is the good news.
right?
There's also a new policy coming out that will cover someone like yourself for choosing your own eggs if he has a complication.
Oh.
So it's the same benefit, it's just on yourself. It will not be available in every state.
Oh, I love that.
But the state that is available in, it's going to roll out, I think, like in May, end of May. But yeah, so that'll be just another option for people in case they're concerned about complications receiving their own eggs.
Because more and more women are doing that.
Yeah. And early on too, they're treating them at a younger age.
Because I know they were doing it in their 30s, but really and truly for a woman, mid to late 20s. Yeah. Not that I'm a doctor. Talk to your doctor.
Not medical advice, yeah.
Not medical advice. I just talk about my own experience. So those are the easier insurances. Now for surrogacy. It can be done. It can be done. I mean, there's so many layers and complexities, and when you get your surrogate, and is there open enrollment, which just ended? Maybe we should start there, Virginia.
Back a step further, and let's say you just signed your match agreement with your surrogate. Okay, so just
right now,
say
today.
you signed. So what's going to happen? She's going to start going through medical procedures to make sure that she can be a surrogate, right? To make sure that all of her body parts are working and that she's really going to be a good candidate for you. Some of those can be invasive, and some of those can cause problems. So there is a short-term or interim life insurance policy that you can purchase for your surrogate during this medical screening process should anything happen. Then when the contract is signed, you're going to reapply for a long-term one. But this will take care of her short-term accidental death, is what it's called. It's through New Life Agency. It's great because there have been issues during that period, and we want to make sure that the surrogate is protected and the intended parents are protected financially as well.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive, great way to do it. Another new policy coming out is going to be like an egg donor policy, but it's going to cover complications that would occur during this medical screening. That's also going to come out, I think, in late May, but it's going to be like a little short-term policy that you can buy for 6 months to cover any complications due to her medical procedure. And people say that she has health insurance, except there's always a clause in a health insurance policy that says you do not need to cover a non-covered service if there's a complication. So if she's not infertile, by the way, so if fertility is not covered, they don't have to cover that complication.
Yep.
So this policy would take care of that little interim period when they're kind of in what I call no man's land.
Yep.
So now open enrollment is over. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at her. Does she have health insurance? Who is it through, herself or her employer? And do a policy validation. Does it cover or not? If her insurance covers, bingo, bongo, bongo, you're done, right? And it's the best because that is a way to cover a surrogate pregnancy.
Yeah.
Or insurance. So that's great. We're all going to clap and go Yahoo and be excited.
Okay, but wait. How often does that happen?
Right. That's a tough question to answer because a percent of the policies that we review actually cover. But I know for a fact that 70%.
Wow.
We don't see policies where it's really clear cut.
Okay, but how often does the surrogate have insurance?
Oh God, 80% of the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then we think everyone always says it never happens, but it does. It does. But yeah,
Okay. Okay. So we're the drum roll. We're all happy. She has insurance. It's a good policy, right?
good policy. So let's get through this hard part first, and then we'll go to the easier thing.
Yeah.
Have insurance. Then you go, okay, where are you in this process, and when are you planning on transferring?
Yeah.
Because if you're not even, like, I talked to one person, they didn't even have an egg donor. I'm like, oh, dude, you're not. This isn't happening right now.
You need
So,
embryos. Yeah.
you need embryos, yeah. So basically, they say, well, we have embryos, everything's good. We just need to do medical clearance and legal. Okay, 3 months. Let's say you're going to transfer in 3 months. If that all happens in 3 months, maybe 4. Yeah, that depends on your attorney. It depends on your doctor. It depends on your clinic. 3, I think, is ambitious, quite frankly.
Correct.
So there's no ACA policies available right now. So then you say, okay, what state does she live in? Because some states have short-term policies. The short-term policies do not cover pregnancy, but cover a complication of pregnancy. So if she were to have a miscarriage, if she were to have preeclampsia, something such as that, then the short-term policy would work. And the idea is, if you transfer in June, she's pregnant sometime end of June, beginning of July, she's going to deliver in October. I mean, not October. I was the wrong way. She's going to deliver like in February or March.
Correct.
You'll put an ACA plan in place for delivery.
And got it. Yep.
So basically, you're paying cash for her office visits. But again, we have that discount plan that if she's in network, you could use.
Right.
Okay. So option 2, so that's one option to get her to an ACA plan. Option 2 is to use an interim plan with Lloyd's of London. And the nice thing about the interim plan is you don't start paying for it until she's actually pregnant.
Oh.
And you're ready for it. And you only pay for the months that you need. So
I love that now.
Yeah. So the temporary plan, you have to apply before med start date.
Okay.
So you may end up paying more months. The short-term Lloyd's or the interim Lloyd's, you pay just for the months you use. So if she didn't get pregnant in June, but she got pregnant in August, then potentially you wouldn't start paying until September. Because you've got to get your confirmation of pregnancy. So then you pay September, October, November, December, and put the ACA plan in place.
Oh my gosh, is this new?
Last year, we rolled it out last June, I think.
Wow, this is fabulous for people because you used to have to pay, and sometimes she wouldn't get pregnant on the first transfer, or you had a delay and you weren't transferring as soon as you thought because nowadays there's so many delays. So yeah, that's a really great policy. You only pay for what you use.
Took ACA plans in place in February, and this person wasn't pregnant for a year. So they paid, $6,000-7,000 in premiums for a plan that they never used.
Never.
So this kind of eliminates that pressure to have to do it only during open enrollment. And then open enrollment starts in November for a January 1 effective date this year, and no exceptions. The government has said, thanks to the big beautiful bill, which is neither beautiful, it might be big, but it is in no way beautiful. But thanks to that bill, open enrollment this year went back to how the legislation was originally written, which is November 1st to December 15th.
Gosh.
So you can start it in mid-October if any of the states who run their own exchanges choose to. So it's a very short window this year. So people need to be in the know about that and ready to act quickly.
So that was shorter than in 2025, right? 2025
was November 1 to January 15th, and some states went until the end of January.
Wow. So now no states can go to the end of January. It's just compressed.
No state can go past December 15th. Yeah. Oh. You can start earlier, but you can't end later. Yeah. It's
crazy. Are you hiring staff now? I mean, seriously.
We are putting in a game plan now to make it work. Yeah. So we've
Say
already
yes.
done a webinar with all the agencies. We had 320 agencies sign up, with all the agencies, letting them know about the changes, letting them know about how our deadlines are going to have to work, which may be adjusted a bit, maybe not, and what the pricing is going to be if you jump into that second or third tier. So we're saying get your information. If you're an agency, get your request for quote in before November 1. Just get it in. It's going to be
Gosh.
a huge challenge. It's kind of exciting in some ways. It's a new challenge, but
Right? It's
it's
a new
going to be a lot.
challenge.
Yeah,
But
it's going to be a lot.
at least there's those other policies that can kind of help. But yeah, you're right. There's gonna have to be a lot of planning in place.
We should do that. We're going to see a bigger shift into that Lloyd's market,
Yep.
just because people are going to miss the deadline. They're not going to want to sign up if they don't even know if this person's even a viable candidate for a surrogacy.
Right.
So I think it's going to be, I think
Yeah.
we'll see some shifts happen.
And I have to say, I know people, and I'm sure they have ACA policies where the contract is expired. They maybe did one or two transfers, and you're right, they have paid that whole year of premiums or longer.
And the other thing we saw this year during the NC open enrollment is that the out-of-pocket maximum greatly increased. So the highest out-of-pocket maximum is like $9,200, and the premiums increased. So the cost differential between a Lloyd's plan and an ACA plan, especially when you consider that you have to buy months that you're never going to use, has gone down dramatically.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's say the surrogate has insurance, right? But there's a lien. I know there's been a lot of discussion liens. I got an email from an agency this morning about a potential lien. I can just imagine the hours of communication and emails that went into that discussion and trying to talk. I don't remember where the intended parents were, but I'm sure they were probably international because, they don't have to deal with insurance. Then
Right.
we either have self-funded or liens and co-pays and co-insurance, and it's just a lot. So let's talk about liens because it seems like there are so many insurance companies and the majority of them have them.
California is the worst state that has liens. It has the most liens. Almost every insurance company in California on the individual side, with the exception of Anthem, will put a lien. And Anthem is another challenge in and of itself, but they will put liens on the surrogate compensation. Two of the insurance companies do it at 33.33% of her compensation, and the others do it as 100%. And what a lien is the insurance company saying, pay us back for our costs for taking care of this person who is making money to carry this child. Yep. Whether they're legal or not is a huge controversy. I would argue that they're not. I would argue they need to go away. Yes. We don't win that argument very often. There's a huge bill that got gutted. Timing was not appropriate on that one.
It was not.
Because of what happened with Mark's surrogacy. It came out right before the vote. So then the person sponsoring the bill pulled back anything that had to do with surrogacy.
Yep.
So they're going to try again. They're not dead yet. So it's going to come again before the California legislature. But what it's saying is the insurance company owes money back. Or you owe money to the insurance company. And so they place a lien on her compensation up to the amount of her compensation or a third of it. They'll treat her like a normal patient. She'll pay her co-pays, the deductible, everything until the pregnancy is over, at which point in time they're going to send a bill. And the bill is going to go to whatever company is processing this on their behalf. A lot of people use Rawlings out of, they're in Kentucky. A lot of other people are, Kaiser handles their own. Can the liens be negotiated?
Kaiser handles their own now? They used to do Rawlings.
Then they probably still do, and I just...
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what happens then is Rawlings will contact the intended parent because you have to send to the insurance company, if you have a lien, everybody who's party to that contract, as well as any pertinent information, the medical section basically of the contract. I say they don't have a right to the whole contract, but they also need to know what your compensation is, so they need that part as well. And then they're going to go from there. If people ask, can they be negotiated? I say everything in life is negotiated.
They can. Yep, I agree. Negotiate.
Well,
the worst they can say is no, right?
Exactly. And they might say yes, and then you get a good times off. There is an attorney in San Diego that does nothing but negotiate these liens. So can they be negotiated? Yes. Your personal attorney who wrote your contract may not do it because not every attorney wants to negotiate a lien. Yeah. So, you know, as I said, there is the company in San Diego, and that's all he's doing is negotiating liens.
Right.
So yeah, that's what a lien is.
Yep.
Oregon has some liens. Washington has some liens. Ohio has some liens. Kaiser, wherever Kaiser is, has liens. So there are other states, but you're going to see it predominantly in California and Oregon, a little bit in Washington. So the West Coast is a mouse, basically.
Yep. I know. It's okay. It is what it is. And let's talk about self-funded, because I know when I was going through IVF, my company switched and they became self-funded. And they questioned me about my bills that I was submitting. Mm-hmm. Because they covered a certain portion of it. I forget what they were covering because they didn't really cover IVF. I paid. Maybe it was the testing or some of the medication. I forget, but they questioned me. Yeah, they were going to drop me, my own company.
With a self-funded plan, what it is that the employer just has more control over the benefits and what is covered and what is not covered. Yeah. Now, they cannot say, we're going to cover Susie's surrogacy, but not Joni's surrogacy. They have to be across the board. Most of them will have a clause that say, we have the right to change this plan at any given point in time. Right? So that means halfway through a benefit year, they could throw in a clause about, we're not covering surrogacy anymore. Yep. Typically, that doesn't happen. Usually, they're going to do it at renewal. You're going to find out about it at renewal. Case in point, Costco covered it for years, and they didn't. They changed at renewal, right? Now, I haven't looked at a Costco policy recently, so I don't know. But as of about 4 years ago, they weren't covering. And so you always have to keep track of those policies. And as we say, self-funded plans, I kind of have a red light, green light, yellow light system. Okay. So a green light is like partially self-funded, meaning it's really the insurance company's plan, but the company is paying the premium and some admin fees, right? But it's really the insurance company's standard policy. So that's a green light to me. That's like, no big deal. A yellow light is one that has either ambiguous language or it's any union plan. If it's owned by a union, you have to be super careful. Not that unions are bad, because they're not. It's just that they tend to exercise a lot of control over those benefit plans. And so, and for the good of all the members, I mean, they're trying to keep them very financially safe for the good of all the members. Yeah. And then there's plans that are just a definite red light, that are a union administrative trust that has fairly clear language or language that says we can change it at any point in time or anything like that. It's just, to me, that's a red light. And doesn't mean you shouldn't use the plan. It means if it doesn't have specific language saying we will not cover a surrogate pregnancy, you could use it, but you better buy a backup plan. Yeah. Because otherwise they can choose, because they can change at any point in time, not to cover this benefit, your pregnancy. So if you buy a backup plan, the contingent plans are like $1,000, and it's just insurance on your insurance. Now, if you have to activate it, it becomes a full voids plan and does get a bit expensive. So we're going to say to you, what were her medical bills? Oh, her medical bills are $15,000. Okay, pay her medical bills, because that's cheaper than activating that plan. Yeah. So we're always going to give you that option because we want to do what's financially best for you. Correct. You need that contingent plan because you need to protect yourself against that $100,000 or $200,000 medical bill. And you need to protect your surrogate from getting medical bills and going to collection.
Absolutely, because nobody wants that for a surrogate. That's just,
No.
I think that's, I think that's beyond awful. And I think in 2026, that should just never, ever happen to us.
Right. I agree.
Never
I
happen.
agree.
But with so many agencies and some not as good as others, sometimes surrogates, get with an agency that may not have the experience to handle that. I do remember looking at a self-funded plan, and the surrogate had been a surrogate once before, and everybody was stunned that the self-funded plan didn't work for this surrogacy. And they actually said, and oh, by the way, we noticed that you didn't have any well baby visits for your last pregnancy that we covered. So we're going to ask you to pay back that too. And everybody was all like up in arms. And this is like, I don't know, 15 years ago. So, I was still somewhat familiar and I could like look at the booklet and it said there, anything specifically not listed is not covered. And I said,
Mhm.
well, they didn't list surrogate pregnancy. So they could not cover it because it's a surrogate pregnancy. And the agency and the parents and the surrogate were stunned. But at that time, the agency was the one that was just reviewing the booklet.
Right.
They didn't get somebody like you. They didn't get the insurance company involved. And I was the one who said, it's right there in black and white. Why they're not covering it. You,
We
you
had
got,
one where they actually, it was her third surrogacy, and they went back to all three. And the IP happened to be an attorney in his home country. And so he went at it with guns blazing. I'm like, go for it.
go for it. Go
Good
for
luck.
it. Right? Yeah. Because
Yeah,
like
so they went
really,
back and got all of them. So yeah, because in self-funded plans, again, it doesn't follow the same set of laws. And so
no,
they have a lot more leeway and flexibility.
they do. They do for sure. Absolutely. Okay. So now you've had your baby and you're in the United States and you have insurance, yay, to cover your baby. But let's say you don't live here. What do you do when you have your baby? What insurance can you get? How can you protect yourself? If the baby has to go into the NICU for a little bit, what do you do?
Well, the first thing you do is you don't wait till the baby is born. That is like the
Correct.
worst idea ever. So you really need to start looking at newborn insurance at Mass. You truly do.
Okay.
Because some of them you have to apply prior to her becoming pregnant. So you have to apply before the transfer. Now with that plan, the good news is it'll stop. So if you did not get pregnant that first time, you can stop it.
Oh,
And then you're going to start it again before the next transfer. So at least you're not paying for months and months and months. You can take a little break. That plan is actually a very good plan. It's brand new to the U.S. We've been selling it in Canada for years, and we now have it in the U.S. So we're very excited about it. We've had it for about 6 months in the U.S. It works great, very well. But let's say you don't want to do that. And also, the unique part about this one is it will cover twins if it splits.
wow.
Splitter.
Because
So
most of them don't cover, yeah, they don't cover twins at all.
yeah,
Okay.
so unintentional twins. So that's great. Then there are three other plans that you can purchase after she's pregnant. One of them, two of them you can actually purchase before she's pregnant, get pre-approved, and then when she's pregnant, start, pay the premium and go from there. Or you can wait. If you wait till she's 12 weeks, 13 weeks, if you wanted to make sure that baby was sick.
Oh,
They
nice.
will ask you for medical records of her past pregnancies as well as the current one, just to make sure everything's fine. And then you apply for them, her medical records and an application, your application, you get approved, you pay the premium. They are not as complete as the one that you have to purchase prior to pregnancy.
Okay.
There might be some gaps, like they might have more limited congenital defect insurance, things like that, but they would cover a NICU stay. They would cover, well, baby, there's a big deductible. So honestly, you're just paying with your own money, but it's getting negotiated for you. So that's nice.
Okay.
So they are there, and their different policy limits vary from 100,000 to up to 500,000. So, obviously, the higher the policy limit, the higher the premium.
Correct. Yeah.
Then there's another plan that you purchase on the 18th, 19th week of pregnancy is when you start, because that insurance company wants to see the 20-week scan. So they want to make sure that everything's good. They would need her medical records for that current pregnancy. They don't care about the other pregnancies, but the current one.
Oh, I kind of like this.
Yeah. The problem is that if anything happened, like if she had gestational diabetes or anything like that, they're not going to accept her. That plan will cover up to $1 million. So it has the most coverage.
Wow. There's always a yay and then a...
Oh, I know. So the bad news. Yeah. So, but it is $1 million, which is awesome. And we do have a lot of people pick that. So if you get approved, it's wonderful. They are a little bit lower in their underwriting. I will tell you, they've been a good partner for years. I mean, you just have to know how to work with them.
Got it.
Challenge a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, in today's world, there are so many international IPs that, you know, they're presented with the options and they still don't get the insurance.
They don't, or we have agencies that tell them, oh, but your surrogate's young and healthy, she'll never need that. But the problem is this, you never know when a baby's going to come early. My grandchild came 6 weeks early and nobody predicted that. I mean, she was extremely healthy pregnancy. Everything was great. She was in great shape. And then
one baby.
I had one baby. And then I had a cousin that actually, I mean, she's a PT therapist, like rock climber, exerciser up the wazoo, eats healthy. Her baby was born full term, but inhaled meconium and was in the NICU for a month. So here's two situations that nobody ever would have predicted.
No.
So when somebody says, oh, but she's young and healthy, well, that's great. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be an issue.
Yep. So, you just never know. It's all
never know.
And I tell people all the time, you know, we are dealing with human beings. It's all biology. It's art and science. So we do the best we can. But just because this pregnancy was great doesn't mean that pregnancy is going to be great. I mean, chances are, hopefully, it will be. But these are people with real lives and things going on. And, you know, your body is not the same as it was last year, even like last month compared to this month, right? Every day is different. Yeah.
So it's don't listen if somebody says you don't need it, because you could be the call that I get that says, my baby was just born into the NICU, what do I do? And the answer is not a whole lot. We can ask for discounts, but that's all we can do.
Yep. But even people don't know that. I'm always like, yes, if you are cash paying, yes, ask for a discount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
And I tell people, it's like the hospital's like, let's make a deal. You know?
They want some money. Some money's better than no money. Yes, let's make a deal. All right, Virginia, any last words?
Well, just that, to make sure other insurances that we didn't really touch, but if you're going to a surrogacy, you should look at the miscarriage policy, because that will protect the intended parent, right? If there is a miscarriage or a fetal demise, or baby's born, stillborn, or dies within 48 hours, it will reimburse the intended parent for parts of their journey funds that they've spent. So they would have money to do it again. The richest policy will reimburse up to, I think, $150,000, which is great. And then make sure your surrogate has life insurance of some type.
Yes,
and then look at their riders.
I always do life insurance for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually really important. We have had surrogates die, unfortunately and sadly. But you want to make sure that their families are protected. So that's really important.
I've only had one surrogate refuse. She flat out refused. And I said, you know, it's not for you. It's for your children. But most of my surrogates, when I get there, I'm like, listen, I know you're young and healthy, but bad things can happen. You know, it's pregnancy. Nobody knows what it's going to be like. This is for your children, benefit. If you have a spouse, significant right, this is for your spouse. It's for your children. So, yeah. I've only had one, like I say, refuse. But you're right. Yeah.
Like $500,000 is like $650. Come on.
Yeah.
That's like nothing.
It's nothing. And then if I see it in a contract and it's $250, I'm like, no. No, girlfriend. That was 15, 20 years ago. It's $500,000 minimum.
Exactly. So make sure, that, and then if you look at any of those riders. So those are the other two insurances that I would definitely take a look at.
The writer, because remember back in the day when intended parents had to pay for the child care and the housekeeping and the lost wages. I love this writer. Like when I meet with them and they're independent or their agency hasn't told them about it, especially if they're international, they'll ask me, if the surrogate works too. Stephanie, my gosh,
Yeah.
she makes this much and how can I, and then if she goes on bed rest and I've got childcare and housekeeping, I go, there's an insurance plan for that.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were in Belgium last year, and we were in Luxembourg and talking to that delightful American couple that happened to live in Luxembourg, and
Yes.
they had a miscarriage at 16 weeks and lost all of that, and were waiting to be rematched. And so the miscarriage policy would have been perfect for them because it would have reimbursed them. So, I think they actually did get rematched. And so I'm very excited for them, but we'll see what they do. But it's just important that you keep in mind that, not everything is going to go perfectly as much as we hope and wish and pray that it does for you.
Right.
But if it's not, then understand that there are lots of things that you can put into place to protect you financially and protect the surrogate financially, so that when things do go wrong, everyone is taken care of and is pleasant and happy.
Because you're absolutely right, because this financially is a lot of money. So the insurance is in place to protect them. Surrogate, egg donor, intended parents. So you're right. If something happens, God forbid, you're covered as best as possible. Yep.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. Yeah.
It really is. Yes. Okay, Virginia. Well, this has been wonderful. So thank you so much.
Stephanie.